Okay. Day of Confession, Como, Italy. Still Monday, July 13, 7 p.m. A troubled and anxious Loscani worked his way across a jammed, hastis, hastily set up communication room deep inside Como Central Carabinieri headquarters. A dozen uniformed officer man phone banks set on desks in the middle of the room, while as many others hacks at computer ter- terminals prop- propped down half a side, whatever they could fit into the two small quarters. Others, still anxious, smoking, drinking coffee, moved in between. It was a war room set up in hours to coordinate an all-out manhunt after a search of Villa Rolenzi turned up no sign of the fugitive. Police Roscani's destination was an enormous map of the Lake Como area that covered one entire wall. On it, pinpointed with small Italian flags, were the locations of roadway checkpoints were heavily armed. Gruppo Cardinal personnel were stopping and chasing every vehicle passing through, a major undertaking considering the variety of terrain and the number of roads that could be used as escape routes. Bellagio was at the northern tip of a landmass triangle that jetted northward into the lake. The lake itself extended farther north, while at the same time spilling in long fingers down either side of the triangle to Lecco on the southeast and Como on the southwest, with Chias, Chiasso and the Swiss border just inland and northwest of it. Because of its location. Chiasso, Chiasso was the most obvious exit point and was heavily manned, but there were other places still within Italy where the fugitives might hold up and hide to wait out a shade. The towns of Menaggio, Trimezzo, and Leno across the lake to the west, Belano, Gitana, and Valenna, Valenna to the east, and then those like Vesenna and Marciano within the triangle, and still others to the west. It was a massive and intense operation that disrupted almost every household and business in the region, a condition exacerbated by an all-out invasion of the media. They were betting that the alleged assassin assassin of the Cardinal Vicar of Rome was on the brink of capture and were broadcasting its life to the world. Loscani was hardly new to large operations, and the disruptive circus atmosphere was part of it. But no matter how well things were organized, their every side made them cumbersome. Things rushed at you. Decisions had to be made quickly and by any number of people. Mistakes were inevitable under fire. You didn't have the absolute tranquility to be quiet and think things through properly. Try to find the logic and approach that could make the difference between success and failure. A sudden noise at the back of the room made Loscani look up. For an instant he saw a gaggle of media people in the hallway outside shooting questions as Scala and Castelletti came in with the captain and two members of the hydrofoil crew who had allegedly ferried Father Daniel and his medical entourage to Bellagio and Villa Lorenzi. Loscani followed them across the room and into an alcove where a carabinieri pulled a sliding curtain to give them privacy. "I am Ispettore Capo Otello Loscani. I apologize for the disorder." The hydrofoil captain smiled and nodded. He was probably 45 and looked fit. He wore he wore a dark blue blistered naval jacket over the same color trousers. His crewmen wore light blue short sleeves shirts with epaulettes on the shoulders, and the same dark blue pants. "Would you like coffee?" Loscani asked at their obvious nervousness. A kick. Loscani caught himself. Them grins. "I was going to offer you a cigarette, but I have just quit smoking in all this bedroom. I'm afraid that if I let you smoke, I might give in and join you." Loscani smiled again, and he could see the manly legs. It was a calculated gesture on his part, designed for the effect it had, yet he wasn't so sure it wasn't the truth. Still, his admission had put the men at ease, and over the next 20 minutes he learned the particulars of the voyage from Como to Bellagio and was given detailed descriptions of the three men and the woman who had accompanied the man on the gurney. He also learns one other singular piece of information: the hydrofoil had been hanged the day before the trip. It had been done through a travel agency in Milan at the behest of a Giovanni Scarso, a a man claiming to represent the family of a man badly injured in an automobile accident who wanted him transported to Bellagio. Scarso had paid cash and left. It was only when they had approached Bellagio that one of the men accompanying the sick man had directed them away from the main landing and farther south to the dock at Villa Lorenzi. When the when the session had finished, there was no doubt in Loscani's mind that he had been told the truth, and that the patient the crew of the hydrofoil had brought to Villa Lorenzi had indeed been Father Daniel Addison. Turning to Castelletti and asking him to go over the details once more, Loscani thanks the captain and his crewmen, and then left, pushing out from behind the curtain and walking back into the glamour of the ballroom. Then, as quickly he left it, walking down a narrow corridor, he entered a lavatory, used the urinal, 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 washed his hands and splashed water on his face, and then, certain it was impossible in this situation to think without a cigarette, he placed two fingers against his lips and inhaled, inhaled, inhaled deeply between them, shaking in the phantom smoke, feeling the immense rush of nicotine. Finally, he leaned back against the wall and used the absoluta tranquilita of the restroom to think. This afternoon he had Scala and Castelletti and 2 dozen carabinieri had schooled, had scowled every inch of Villa Lorenzi. Yes, they had found nothing, not a trace of Father Daniel or the people with him. Then an ambulance might have been waiting somewhere on the villa's ground. and the party simply loaded their patients on board, and escape was not possible because Villa Lorenzi had only two access ways: the main driveway and a service road, and both were gated. With the gates operated from inside the villa, a vehicle could not enter or leave without the knowledge and assistance of someone inside, and according to Mui Mui, this had not happened, of course, as cooperatives as Mui had seems he could have been lying. Moreover, there was always the possibility someone else had helped Father Daniel escape without Mui's knowledge. And then there was the last, the possibility the priest was still there and hidden away and they had missed him. Once again Loscani inhaled phantom smoke through his fingers, dragging deep into his lungs. At dawn, he and Scala and Castelletti, along with a select force of carabinieri, would go back to Villa Lorenzi unannounced and chase again. This time they would take dogs, and this time they would leave nothing unturned, even if they had to dismantle the villa stone by stone to do it.